our group is going to present a case study on Big Wet Spring Water Company. And this presentation is done by Liu Han, Tram, and myself, Ravi. So this is going to be the agenda. So I'm going to talk about the risk exposure, and I'm going to develop a plan to mitigate the risks. And then Liu Han is going to develop an action plan, change the negative attitudes of politicians, farmers, and neighbors around. And Tram is going to design and provide a schedule, implement a strategic plan. So this is introduction to the Big Water Company. It's a spring water company based in Western Australia. The manager starts formulating an aggressive plan to lead the Western Australia business on a growth path. So the significant growth in sales coupled with low rainfall is actually affecting the water supply of the company. So my task is I'm going to outline broadly the risk exposure to the Big Wet as a company and develop a plan to meet the increasing demand for spring water. These are the risks associated for the company. So first is low rainfall in the region. Perth relies 50% of its water supply from reservoirs, but these reservoirs are getting dried up because of low rainfall. Obviously, environment conditions is a crucial factor. So Perth has received 27.8 millimeters of rain this month, and the long-term average is usually around 169.6 millimeters. So that is the major problem with drought factors in the Perth region. And the next risk factor associated is blending of the taste issue. Drawing backup source and blending it with the Big Water Company results in chemical reaction, and this leads to taste issues. So that's in the part of blending taste issue. And the next risk is about licensing. Due to significant growth in sales, Big Wet has applied for an increase of the water license of the current water source, but the council has rejected it. So because of the rejection, they can't really supply the water, right? So I'm going to develop a plan for this now. What can you do about low rainfall? You obviously can't do anything about rainfall. So what can you do? You can actually get water from a nearby river, get water from Ord River by constructing a pipeline from Ord River to an offshore loading facility near Cambridge Gulf. So this is near Kimberley region. You can get the water from there. Ultraviolet purification is the next one. I'm going to talk about disinfection. UV water purification can reduce and in some cases replace chlorine as a primary drinking water disinfectant. So this method that uses UV light to kill, it can use to kill microorganisms. So ultraviolet purification is the most effective method for disinfecting bacteria from the water. So for a long time, UV disinfection of drinking water has been used in application around the world as a safe and reliable water source solution. The process does not alter the natural odor or taste of water. The next is, what can they do is implement a CSR strategy. By implementing a CSR strategy, they can appease the local government in order to increase the water supply of license from Big Wet Water Company. And so their main focus will be on CSR because they can appease the government. Maybe they can extend the license by implementing a CSR strategy. That's about it. And the next case study, the next part will be taken by Angie. Thank you.
Now I'm going to talk about how to develop action plan to turn the negative attitude of politicians, neighbors, and farmers around. First of all, I want to introduce a stakeholders concept before I'm moving forward. According to Manani, stakeholders are individuals or groups that benefit from an organization and also can be harmed or have their rights affected by an organization. And the stakeholders in the project can be divided into two types that are internal stakeholders and external stakeholders. The politicians, neighbors, and farmers are external stakeholders of Big Wet Company. There are several negative attitudes of stakeholders towards Big Wet Company. First, on the politician side, due to the significant growth in sales coupled with the decreased rainfall in Western Australia, the company may overutilize the water source and it will breach the constraints that issued by the government. And the government already received a number of complaints from neighbors and farmers. In addition, the council rejected the company's application for an increase of the water license of the current water source. Second, for the neighbor side, the use of the water from backup source has caused a taste issue, and the already increased truck traffic has prompted complaints from neighbors. What's more, neighboring residents have been lobbying local politicians to revoke the company's water license and trying to stop the company from taking water from the source. Third, on the farmer side, they complained that the water supply of neighboring orchard has been diminished. So based on the Mandela's theory of the power interest matrix, company can do an analysis of the stakeholders as well as derive management attitude to deal with different external stakeholders. From which we can see stakeholders can be divided into 4 types according to their level of interest and power to the organization. From which we can see in the case of Big Wet, local politicians actually have low level of interest to the company but have a high level of power, so that the Big Wet's management attitude towards the politicians should be keep them satisfied. On the other hand, neighbors and farmers have high level of interest to the Big Wet and its project, but they have low level of power. In this way, Big Wet should keep neighbors and farmers informed. And my action plan making is based on the theories above. After we figure out the negative attitude of stakeholders and the management attitude towards them, the thing needed to be done by Big Wet is to make action plan to change stakeholders' attitude. And generally, there are 2 basic plans. First is to influence local politicians by engaged in corporate social responsibility practices. On the other hand, is to improve the communication and engagement of the neighbors and farmers in order to build up good relationship between them. Later, some action plans will be provided. So, the action plan to change politicians' attitude is based on keeping them satisfied. The first plan is to help government improve the drain system and encourage the use of treated wastewater. A 3-year trial of using treated wastewater for drinking supply is ongoing. By prompting this trial and project can help Big Wet gain support from state government and politicians. And also they may obtain more water supply. The second plan is to explain the water shortage situation to the public through media and encourage the water-saving actions. Using public service advertising or advertising video on TV or website to educate public to protect and cherish the water resource, so as to help Big Wet to build up good corporate image. The third plan is to get involved in the practices of protecting wildlife and environment and put it into Neighborhood Watch program. Western Australia's heavy reliance on the superficial aquiferous water has a profound effect on lakes and wildlife like water birds and turtles that live in those lakes. Neighborhood Watch program can help increase the public awareness of environment problems, so as to encourage the participation in environment protection activities. The action plan to change neighbors and farmers' attitude is to keep them informed and also engaged. So first, to communicate with neighbors and farmers about the main issues that faced by company, so that they can get a better understanding of the company's situation. By transparent about the company's information, inform the neighbors and the farmers openly and regularly will help Big Wet gain trust and sympathy from them. And by this way, a good relationship can be built. Second is to let neighbors engage in the discussion about changing the transportation time. Listen to neighbors' voice and take their feelings and thoughts into consideration can make them get better engaged, from which the company can come up with better solution to the traffic problem. Anyway, it is very important to hear from neighbors and farmers and get them engaged for Big Wet Company in terms of changing their attitude. So the task 3 will be provided by Winnie.
Okay, thank you, Lihan. Now we are moving to the task 3. Task 3 talk about the provide the schedule. After that, go by the strategic plan to deal with the issue with my partner already mentioned above, such as Kravi and Liu Han deal with the changing of negative attitude and the politician, neighbor, farmer around. Now let's move to the schedule. This is my schedule for this company to do. First of all, the company needs to do from right now to the from 20 to 14 to 20 to 17. First of all, they all need to do the system. Why they do this right now? Because they are facing with a problem in terms of blending water, problem with the taste water. So they need to build a system such as ultraviolet and recycle water system to improve the quality. The next thing for this company to do is the licensing. In the licensing, they need to implement. They need to implement the CSR, such as protecting wildlife, environment, and build a good corporate image to prove with the government and political to provide their license. The third one is the advertising. This is another important because their reputation is damaged by CSR problems such as the taste problem and the complaining of the neighbor and farmers in this region. So basically, they need to enhance their business on the advertising on the public media such as on TV, internet, or on the newspaper. The last one is the communication. Big Wet Company need to do is building the relationship with the neighbor and farmer in these regions, and they need to improve the engagement of the neighbor and farmer. That's the good way to build the good communication with them. To implement this action, this company need to provide the grant on the company, such as to implement this schedule, and company need to divide this business assignment in the company by manpower in the company. The manpower is in the company need to divide from the top management. The top management is the run level of management is the decision making. They will decide the decision of the company. And for the operating manager they scope with the daily activity, such as the solution of the backup resources to supply the demand. They need to think should or should not to back up the water sources. And the last one is, the next one is the marketing manager, focusing on the customer in the marketplace, such as they need to advertise and building the reputation on the company. The last one is the strategic manager. This is the last one is the role of strategic manager. They plan to the strategies for each plan to meet the demand of the water. Based on the projected water sales in the period from the 2014 and 2017, I can calculate the price of the X liter of water. From this guide, I can estimate the price to implement this action. The cost for building the system comprise the ultraviolet and recycling wastewater. Recycling wastewater. is estimate $300,000 in 2014, and later on the company need to improve the system to continuing to do well. It's cost $50,000. And the next one is building the corporate social responsibility. Comprise building image, protecting wildlife and environment is estimated from the 4 years from 2014 and 2017 about the $400,000 per year. Next one is advertising, such as on the internet, TV, or the newspaper, is about $250,000 per year from the 2014 to 2017. That's the plan for the 4 years. The last is the communication. Scope with the service, is cost for the service for employee, transport to deal with the neighbor and farmer in this region, and this cost will estimate about $30,000 per year. That's it. Our presentation, our references, and these are 3 things of 3 members on my group. Thank you so much, and this is our presentation.